come on the air tonight, we have new reporting on how we went from President Trump saying this morning from the White House that he didn't want to extend his own ceasefire with Iran to doing just that this afternoon.
But the deadline for the ceasefire is tomorrow. If it looks like things are progressing, will you not necessarily extend it to a definitive amount of time, but will you let it keep going if there's progress in the talks before taking?
Well, I don't want to do that.
So to be clear, you're saying that you need at least the prospects for a signed deal today and tomorrow, or else you would resume bombing Iran.
I expect to be bombing because I think that's a better attitude to go in with. But we're ready to go. I mean, the military is raring to go.
That was the president's sentiment just after 8 a.m. this morning. But by 4 p.m. here in Washington, he had extended that ceasefire, saying, quote, "We have been asked to hold our attack on the country of Iran until such time as their leaders and representatives can come up with a unified proposal. I've therefore directed our military to continue the blockade and in all other respects remain ready and able, and will therefore extend the ceasefire until such time as their proposal is submitted and discussions are concluded one way or the other." Now, that Truth Social post there came after the president had spent the afternoon, I'm told, huddling with his national security team in the West Wing. While that was happening, Air Force Two was sitting on the tarmac at Joint Base Andrews, and the administration was deciding, should the Vice President, J.D. Vance, board his plane and head to Pakistan for the next round of negotiations with the Iranians, as was he when he was there just a few weeks ago, as you can see here. But today the administration was dealing with an issue, virtual silence that they were getting from the Iranians. Now, I've learned that in recent days, the United States had sent Iran a list of broad points that they wanted them to agree to in advance of the next round of talks, of J.D. Vance getting on Air Force Two and going back to Islamabad. But days went by without the United States getting a response, raising questions and suspicions about whether or not much could be achieved in person. Officials had urged the top mediator from Pakistan to get at least some kind of response from Iran before the vice president boarded his flight. But still, hours later, an official tells me there was nothing. That radio silence is a far cry, though, from the confidence that we had heard coming from President Trump just a few days ago on Iran.
This process should go very quickly, and that most of the points are already negotiated and agreed to.
Now, cut to today, and the president's top aides basically believe one of the biggest reasons they did not hear back from the Iranians on what they wanted to just get these talks started is due to fractures within the current Iranian leadership. The administration's sense is that the Iranians don't have consensus on their position or know how much to empower the people who are going and negotiating in person on things like uranium enrichment and the current stockpile of enriched uranium. Now, part of that complicating factor, the United States believes, is whether or not the new supreme leader, Mujtaba Khamenei, is giving his subordinates clear directions, or if they're simply having to assess and guess what he wants without specific instruction from him while he's been in hiding. That's something that the president was alluding to in his Truth Social post about extending the ceasefire today. The U.S. believes that Khamenei's efforts to remain hidden have actually disrupted internal Iranian government discussions. Now, as we sit here tonight, the president has extended this ceasefire. There is no end date, as you noticed on that Truth Social post, no new deadline on how long this could go on. Despite our reporting tonight about the concerns about what's happening inside the Iranian government, I am told that U.S. officials do believe there is still a chance that the U.S. and Iranian negotiators could meet again soon. But if and when that happens is far from certain tonight.